Final Fantasy. How many are there? When will it end? When will there finally be a Final Fantasy? Will there ever be a Final Fantasy? Probably not in my lifetime. Or at least, hopefully not. They will if Square Enix continues on the current sales trajectory, though. A long while ago, prior to Final Fantasy XVI's release, Yoshi P said that internally at Square Enix they have held discussions on the topic of numbering new Final Fantasy entries, as it's often very difficult for newcomers to understand that you don't have to play any of the previous entries in order to enjoy a new Final Fantasy game. And this is actually very true. You would be surprised that even in the year 2024, the amount of people that still don't know that you don't need to play the first 15 games to enjoy the 16th. Then you explain it to them, and they're still not convinced because they feel like they're just late to the party or something. Like it's not for them. Which you and I both know that it couldn't be further from the truth. Like, I just made a video about how Final Fantasy has an identity crisis, and every game is extremely different from the last. If anyone is being alienated, it's longtime fans more than newcomers. But that number scares people, and probably because it's kind of a big number at this point. Like, no other video game franchise besides a few get as high as 16 in their titles. From a psychological perspective, it just seems daunting to people who have never tried a game in the series before. So then if you ditch the numbering, it might make it more appealing to some newcomers, but the general gamer crowd, which is likely you, is just gonna think it's some random spin-off side game or something and not care much about the game. Most fans, and even just other people who have been following games that don't play Final Fantasy, know that the number means something. In fact, it means a lot to us longtime fans. So if Square Enix ditches the numbering, then they lose longtime fans.
I know I do.
And if they keep it, they will have a hard time gaining new fans.
Really? Are you absolutely 100% certain you don't want me around to save your butts?
So, what should Square Enix do? Do I think they should ditch the number?
No.
So then I must think that they should just title the next Final Fantasy 17, right? Also,
No.
So now I've made you confused as fuck as to what I actually mean. Allow me to explain. I think there's a very simple solution to this dilemma. In fact, it's very simple. The first thing they need to do is subtitle the numbered entries. So let's take Final Fantasy 16 for example. What if instead it was called Final Fantasy Dominance of the Crystal? Feel free to roast me in the comments if that's a bad subtitle, but I don't care, it's getting the point across. So anyway, the logo would then look something like this. And then for the Japanese version, you would have katakana written underneath like this, where it would say, Final Fantasy Dominant of the Crystal. Then, kinda in about the same font size as that, you place the almighty Roman numeral at the top right like this. Problem solved. So you can still acknowledge that it's a numbered entry, but it's not so prominent in the title that newcomers may not even notice it's there, so it wouldn't necessarily deter them from purchasing the game. They would just see the rest of the title and think it's some new game. And longtime fans, don't tell me you're not going to notice that little Roman numeral in the corner there, regardless if it's small or not. So I think that's a very simple way to market and sell new main entry titles in the series to newcomers, while still respecting the series' legacy and retaining old fans. And since you made it all the way to the end of this video, you might want to check out my previous video where I talk about how Final Fantasy has borderline personality disorder right here.